Yeah, sure.
Awesome. Well, hi, everyone. Welcome back to another fantabulous episode of Just Be You podcast. I'm here today with a fantabulous woman that I met towards the ending of last year, and we've been trying to connect. And I'm just so excited to have her here to share her expertise in, the women's space of self-development. And she's going to share a little bit more about herself, what she has going on. Because you'd be so surprised at, the things that you put out, what attracts to you. Because Lisa is joining us all the way from Thailand. So what we do is needed everywhere. So I'm just going to jump right into it and say hi, Lisa, and just tell my audience a little bit more about you and where you're from.
Sure. Thank you for the invite. And I'm Lisa Van Roode. I'm Dutch, so from the Netherlands, but I live in Asia since 2006 and 8 years now in Thailand, Phuket, with my Dutch hubby and my adopted 3 dogs. And I built here my dream, actually.
Nice. Well, so what kind of led you to Thailand? What made Thailand your dream? And how did you kind of like plant the seed there?
So I was always attracted to Asia from just after graduating from the Royal Academy. I started working as like a stylist and a designer, and I was sent off to Hong Kong, Korea, and I was so amazed. Then China, Philippines, Indonesia, Bangladesh, Pakistan, almost everywhere. And I was so intrigued by all these different cultures, and I love traveling so much that I thought, wow, this is it. So fast forward many years later, I came to live in China. Nice. And at that time for my garment business and garment career, let's say, which I swapped. And so, of course, we went to Thailand for holidays because it's a very popular country. And then we thought, well, we want to stay in Asia and maybe ever retire in Asia one day. But not in China, not in Hong Kong, and definitely not in Bangladesh. So Thailand was our favorite option. So that's why we settled here.
Nice. So you have a retreat, right?
Sure.
So when it comes to, I guess, like relaxation, I guess from, living in Dutch and like living in Thailand, are there any kind of like differences on their approach on, kind of like that self-love, or just kind of paying more attention to the things that kind of bring you joy and just kind of like living in that rhythm?
Definitely, because the whole idea started from me traveling up and down for my homeware brand, natural fair trade homeware brand, where I had 2 people appointed and one was in a burnout very quickly. So I tried to figure out what the burnout was. And then I figured out 1 in 3 are suffering from stress, who are sitting at home, cannot work, and 1 out of 7 in a burnout. Anyway, so I had one lady in my office in the Netherlands, and she said, well, I can't handle everything myself. We're building this brand, we're building this company. So I said, okay, let me travel up and down. And then when I traveled up and down to grow the business, to help her out, I saw the stress. For example, she had 2 kids, would run early morning to the kindergarten to drop 1 kid, then rush to the daycare for the other kid, and then rush to the office, put her back in the office, switched on the laptop, made 2 cups of coffee, and then the party started, right? And so at nighttime, it would go like vice versa. And of course, I couldn't tell her, but I thought, what a crazy world is this in Holland. When I was driving to the office, gray sky, gray pavements, next to me in a traffic jam, all these gray faces. And I was like, oh my goodness, if you would have to do this 5 days a week, which I did, of course, back then, but my lifestyle transformed so much that I thought, wow, if I could create a hub, not where people all come to live, right? Will be a bit overloaded and crowded, but imagine I could create a place where people can unwind, relax, and reconnect. and get a sparkle or the touch of my wellness lifestyle, as I call it, because frankly speaking, I live practically bare feet, even to the dentist. So imagine that I take my dogs in the early morning to the beach, and then I walk with my feet in lukewarm water that's already detoxifying. You have the vitamin D shining on your head. And so we wake up early because it's nice and quiet and cool. We go to bed early with the chicken, I always say. So that lifestyle is so different. So yeah, it's basically the reason why I started the retreat.
Nice. So when women come to your retreat, or do you feel like there's any initial challenges you kind of have to break them out of in order for them to have the full experience of a retreat? Because I guess it's with type A personalities, it's like they kind of feel like they're not in control of it. So it's trying to let go and kind of like relaxing can be kind of hard for people. So do you feel like that's kind of like an initial blockage, or people are just like, yeah, like let's relax and show me how I can just enjoy, the fruits of life?
Yeah, I get the point, but listen, we've just been through a few years hardship, right? So
Absolutely.
all of us have stress levels up to the roof. But the thing is, many times we don't really recognize it because we're so used to live in, let's say, the red zone, right? So it's a matter of, I always compare it like this. So most of us, women especially, we have a car, right? And you take care of your car. So you take it for maintenance, maybe check up every year. Then you have this nice booklet. You go to that garage that serves you best. And then maybe the guy will say, oh, you need to change some parts in the car. And then after 10 years where you really feel like you want to give it up, you just kick it, right?
Yeah.
So the car we even treat well. We women tend to, from girl onwards, take care of everything, including our car, but not ourselves. So it's like an awareness to appreciate yourself and to love yourself. And that's what's lacking a lot. But if people like understand that it's time for some self-care and a checkup or maintenance, because for a car, you can replace all these parts in the car, but you can't replace that many body parts. And whereas a car would last like 10, 20 years max, we have to do with like 100 years, right? Because that's always like our goal. It might be 80. But so, I feel in general, people are stressed up to like really high. It was a very stressful time. And to reconnect, when I always have to like, how to say, I really feel grateful that when people come here, they look so stressed out and so excited, and there's no way to prepare you, just as you come as you are, but the transformation throughout the days. And there is nothing hardcore, because I don't believe in hardcore. I don't believe in diet. I just feel everyone has to do what they think is best for them, and together during the induction we figure out eventually what would be your goals, etc. And when people sort of surrender, which automatically happens, or let's say naturally happens here very quickly, then they actually love it, that they don't have to think about the kids, the hubby, or the partner, the family. They always take care, the colleagues, and they don't even have to decide what to cook, because they don't have to cook. They don't have to consider, shall I go to a class or not, because you just attend or not. But since you're here, you anyway go, right? And do fun things. And who doesn't love the beach, and who doesn't love like to sniff some culture? And so it happens automatically, and there's not really a way to prepare other than to tell yourself, now it's me time.
Yeah, that's it. I love that. So I remember in a previous conversation, you kind of mentioned to me about a scan that you kind of perform on everyone that kind of comes into the retreat. Can you explain a little bit more about that? Because I thought that was like really, really interesting and fascinating.
Yeah, well, it's new and not new, because the technology is already invented from like Nikola Tesla, who doesn't know the Tesla cars. But this is a medical device built in Germany. And it is bioresonance scan, but it goes way deeper than most electromagnetic systems. All too technical, but it's based upon the concept that everything's energy, and so everything has a frequency, right? Yeah. So based upon that principle, we do the induction. So you would sit in front of me, you put on the headset, can breathe and talk normally, and together we see and identify where the stress happens in the body. Because, okay, we live, right? So we have thoughts like 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day, especially women. Yeah. Many are recurring and many are negative. Do you recognize, like you go to the supermarket and you think, oh my goodness, I used the wrong lane. Or in the traffic jam, why I always have the wrong lane. And somebody ever told you, oh, you're not good at that. So you start to believe it, and it's like a tape recorder. And so we identify where this is like becoming a highway in your brain pattern. And so there are a lot of unconscious or subconscious beliefs in the body, because every memory that we have and emotions get stuck somewhere in the cells. So from there on, really like from deep onwards, we measure like 30 billion points in the body. It's really based upon science. And then we can very quickly in the scan identify, for example, what's your superfoods and what's not good for you to eat. And that's super handy because it will help to heal. The body always wants to heal naturally. And we will make your smoothie. So our retreats are always very personalized, because what's good for you might be like poisonous for somebody else.
Right.
So that's what we're going to identify. We also, through the induction and through the talk, figure out what you are, what your goal is actually, right? What you want to achieve. So you are in control, you are in charge. Right. But a lot of times I see there's a lot of stress around the pancreas. And so that is the self-love organ, I would say, around the liver, like that's not only detoxing, the detoxing organ for alcohol, but it's also detoxing your emotions. And then the stomach and the smaller intestine stands for how to say, break up the toxins. And then of course the end of the intestines is like letting go. So we see, if you live your passion, if we see a lot of, how to say, spots, we can identify that your body is ready for transformation, but maybe you're too stubborn or you feel you're not ready yet. And so we can identify a lot. Also, what color would be good for you to feel uplifted, what essential oils could help you, and what gemstones could help you out, and really work on the limited beliefs. And then the most exciting part is there is, like, let me call it simple, a booster button. So with that, once we do the scan, we identify where is most stress in the body, on which organs. And then we choose a few which could use a booster. So imagine the frequency is like this, and we put the other frequency to like balance it. And then during the sleep or during the day, you start to dissolve things in your brain pattern. So things come like more easily to you, or you just have like a breakthrough, or it doesn't really happen always in like 24 or 48 hours. Sometimes it takes a bit or a while. But I see many people, they are, for example, struggling with a relationship with their mom or with a sister. And then throughout the program that we do after the scan, for example, journaling. Some people like to write a letter to their mom and never send it because she already passed away. Some people like to journal and figure out. Some have a very upset gallbladder, so the stress needs to get out from the gallbladder. So we hire a Muay Thai trainer, so you can box and kick out everything. Like physically. Yeah, because for women it's very important that to sweat out the anger. We tend to hold on to a lot of fears, angers, and like the hidden fear that becomes like hatred and revenge is very, very deep. And it always pops up when you least expect it, or just wasn't handy that it came out and at that moment. So yeah, that is the personal approach that we do with the scan, let's say. But one more thing to mention about this. So that's happening when you are here live at our retreat. But we can also do the scan before or after the retreat, or even outside of the retreat, because it's based upon frequency. So we have a small lab where we put your picture and the full details, and then we do it on distance. I actually do that all the time.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
and it's super spot on, because
Okay.
you know, it pops up and it's very direct and straightforward in your face, I would say.
Okay.
It could only be you. It could not anyone else. And that's not from me, but that's from the people that's like on the other side of the world. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty neat. I mean, hey, gotta love technology. So how do you detox your feelings? Is that through the journaling or the exercising? Because that's an interesting concept. I would love to learn how to detox my feelings.
Yeah. Well, there's a ton of things to do. So it all comes together. I really believe in like a holistic approach.
Okay.
So it comes down to yoga, like morning stretch. I don't even like the word yoga, but let's call it morning stretch or yoga nidra, where you can really deblock some feelings. And sometimes I feel like not really a click in my back, but I feel, wow, something's gone.
Right.
The booster of the scan will help you to do that. The exercises throughout the day and being totally out of your own comfort zone at home, because everything's different. It's warm, it's tropical, and the food is different. That will help you. Massages can help to deblock you. Just walking along the beach can help you. And detoxing by breathing helps with your energy, with like Qigong. You can breathe through the pores and detoxify your organs. Yeah, super cool.
Wow. Hey, I mean, it sounds super cool. I kind of started practicing yoga a couple years ago because I had back pain. And then from that, I learned, I was like, oh, I'm not breathing as well. I could breathe a lot deeper and a lot calmer. So I definitely love that aspect. And I guess that explains why I like yoga so much. But yeah, now. Cool. So what have you found are some of like the myths within like retreats, or things that you've come along that people ask you and you're like, well, that's not the entire truth, there's more to that aspect?
Well, I don't believe in quick fix, and I don't believe in diet, right? So I mean, I figured out along the way that I'm about three things, which is natural, sustainable, and fair. So of course I could sell a detox retreat to somebody. There's loads of them here actually that sell you 3 coconuts a day for $300 a night. And then of course you will lose 10 pounds in 10 days. No doubt about that, right? But is it sustainable? Would it be fair for me to sell you that, knowing that within like this, you will gain another 15 pounds, right?
Right.
But for some people, that's their business model. I don't judge, but it's just not my style.
Right.
So if you want to find a sustainable way, get tools along the way to help you find your goals in life, a different approach maybe, and get a sparkle and a touch and a glimpse of a wellness lifestyle that you can implement. And people always think, oh, I need big transformation and I cannot do this or that, but it's totally not about that. It's kind of the small things and sometimes really small tweaks in your daily habits or in your rhythm to have a totally different feeling when you start the day or to end the day, right? It can be as simple as the 3-2-1 nighttime routine. Like 3 hours before you go to bed, you don't eat. 2 hours before to bed, you don't drink. 1 hour before to bed, you don't touch this kind of devices.
Yeah.
Instead, you take like a lukewarm Epsom salt bath. You put some essential oils. You maybe read a book or do something else that you throughout the day, or maybe make like a recap of your day or make like a to-do list for the next day. And then you just slide into the night, let's say. Yeah.
That sounds blissful. I think I might try that. I might try that tonight.
Come on.
Because it sounds really good. Because I know sometimes my body will be tired, but I can't actually fall asleep, and I'll spend more time just like kind of laying in bed, like, okay, I'm gonna fall asleep in 5, 4, 3, and it doesn't always pan out that way. So I'm definitely
Yeah.
gonna try that the next time I'm trying to like wind down.
Oh, we have a lot of more tips and tricks for you, but let's start with the basic or with the simple ones, let's say.
Yeah, start small and work our way up.
Yeah.
So how long do people typically stay at your retreat for? Like, is it a week, 2 weeks, or is it just?
It can be a week, 10 days, or 14 days.
Okay.
So we have like a weekly schedule, which we alternate, of course.
Okay.
So yeah, we always try to keep things fun for you.
Right.
But sometimes you see that, especially when people fly in a little bit more miles, let's say, they need a few more extra days to recover and to settle in the time zone, which is kind of easy here because when it's light, it's easy to adapt. And it also depends, what you feel like and how many holidays you have. I'm always very practical also, but I can see really big changes within like a week.
Oh, that's great. Wow.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And some people just don't want to leave. So,
So how long, I mean, so I kind of feel like a retreat is almost like, kind of like preventative care almost.
Definitely.
Is there like I don't know, like a recommended amount of times you should kind of allow that space for yourself, or is it just kind of like independent to your lifestyle?
At least once a year.
At least once a year. Okay.
Yeah.
And is that something you should do by yourself, or bring a gal pal, or bring somebody with you?
It depends. Some people prefer to be like private. Well, anyway, this space is secluded, right? So some people want to explore themselves and are scared that things pop up which they don't even want to share with their friend because it's like in the goal cycle. Right. And other people feel more secure when they are with a friend to like tag on, and then you can still decide to stay together in one room or have your privacy whenever you feel you need it, and book your own room. Yeah,
that's great. So what are some of the things that you learned about yourself in, helping all of these women that you come across?
Well, that is really my passion to help, especially women. And to see how they sometimes are insecure, how they are exactly as I was. And then I mirror myself, right? Like, okay, I'm almost 57 now. I was like that when I was 30, right? I was ambitious. I wanted hardcore. I wanted to conquer the world. I was very much in a male space, let's say, male energy. And then when I built this, I really wanted to explore my inner Eve, but not in a woo-woo way. I'm very practical, grounded, down to earth, let's say. And so, I learned a lot about myself because it's like a personal development trajectory you go on, or let's say a journey. And I learn a lot from the guests as well. Yeah, I love it to like interact, to hear their ideas, to get feedback. Yeah. And not only within this space, right? So we also take people outside. And then we have like the fun thing. So we together buy an ice cream. What's your flavor? Oh, then suddenly you have to make a choice again, right?
Yeah.
In the weekend market, what are you going to shop for your friends? Or, and go to Big Buddha and getting blessing for an arm from a monk. So people feel that's really excited, or if they want to go on a boat trip on the Pena-Gay or meet some elephants in the sanctuary. Yeah, everything's possible here, and it's all like relatively close by. So it's best of Thailand on a tropical island during your retreat. So it's the all-in experience. I really wanted this place and to give people all senses experience. So cultural, natural, the smells, what you see, how you feel. And so, yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful. So do you offer like any kind of like after retreat support, like if...
Yes, sure. That's very important. I can't say it's most important,
Okay.
but we do have care. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So
Definitely.
what are some things that people can kind of like easily do at home to just kind of like zen out if they're having issues making that connection?
You mean before or after, or just anytime?
Both, all of it. Just like if, they wake up and it's just like, or well, there's sometimes where you may wake up and you're not feeling at your best and like you're trying the whole day to like get yourself, to a higher energy level and it's just not working. And it's just like, okay,
Sure,
what do we do?
sure. I get this. So when you wake up, you first have to figure out what's a good time for you to wake up. I'm still so grateful that I don't have to wake up with an alarm clock, because naturally I wake up around 5.
Okay.
And for some people, it starts by a few yoga or stretch exercises in their bed. For some people, it's like the appreciation and being grateful for waking up, for being able to walk, to open the tap and appreciate that you have water, that you can take a shower, you have electricity, right? So these kind of basic things, gratitude always makes you feel better. But what we tend to do, first thing in the morning, we grab this one, right? So if you didn't switch off the Wi-Fi, I would suggest you to always do that at night. But anyway, just don't put it in your bedroom. That's the best tip. Actually, you should hide it in a drawer, maybe in the kitchen or whatever. But anyway, I get the point. This is the most difficult thing to detox from, right?
Yeah.
And so once you get it and you get some nasty emails, you immediately feel your day starts in like, how to say, in a scale of 1 to 10, you start off with like a 4. And then something else happens. I mean, maybe your cat threw up in the house, which you didn't expect, or whatever happens, the milk is not good for the coffee, or something happens, something breaks, and then you feel like, oh, it's one of those days. Or, you have a heavy meeting or need to go for anything practically. So you feel like a 4. And then just be aware that you feel like a 4. So tune in with yourself like a mini second, like, okay, I feel like a 4, but now it's still morning time. I'm not going to waste my whole day. But sometimes even I feel like I want to like hang a bit in that nasty feeling, and this not good, that's not good. And then I try to be aware how long that feeling will continue like this. And then the next thing is I challenge myself. That takes a bit of discipline. I challenge myself to swap myself to at least an 8. And then I have to laugh always, because every time you do this, you can do it quicker and you can do it more easily. And you just have to laugh about yourself, because there's never a whole day messed up. It just doesn't exist. Everything has good things and bad things, right? So even in the deepest moments, which I, of course, definitely during COVID, when there was no plane touching down, nobody could travel, I was sometimes also really in the dark, right? I'm not a superhuman. I'm not different than anyone. So, but then with like being grateful and learning this tool to like implement from a 4 to like an 8 minimum. And I realized, okay, this part of my life is shit now, but hey, I'm still alive. I can still go to a tropical beach. I still live here the dream life of many that would love to live their dream life, right? We can appreciate nature because it's like taking over us, even though there are no tourists, so no income. So try to like zoom out and see, okay, just this part is shit, but not all of it. Or it could be 2 things, right? So try to see what still works for you, and then try to, appreciate that and try to shift the mindset from like a 4 to minimum of 8. Wow. And you gained, how to say, from a 4 to 8 is like a pretty
significant
good score,
jump,
right? Yeah. So if you can do that, wow, then you can do anything, girl.
I mean, that is true. If you can, just change your own attitude or your own perspective about anything, then you can just do just about anything. Because
Yeah, just
changing
don't feel the
yourself
victim.
is
Take
the
control.
hardest thing
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you can do. So yeah.
Mm.
So then what are your thoughts on, because I don't know, I hear all the time that, you know, if you want to be successful, you got to wake up at the butt crack of dawn and, you know, kind of collapsing, you know, all these hours into a short amount of time to be successful. So do you feel like there's, I guess, some merit to that, or that's just, you know, something that was said that people were like, oh yeah, let me just wake up early, start early, and just kind of go from there?
Yeah, well, I love to do that, but that's my nature. Even though ever in a corporate job, I had to be at my desk at 8 a.m. in the morning, and I hate it every day. And when I would arrive 1 minute later, I would get a punishment, literally, or, you know, a nasty email. And I
For a
still,
minute?
yeah, I
Oh,
still
wow.
feel grateful that that is like way past, right?
Mhm.
And by nature and from family history, let's say, we are workers. So we love to be like busy bees and
Right.
entrepreneurial, but it's not per se the way to go, as in like being successful.
Okay.
And that's of course also way different now. I mean, like, let's say our parents, they were like, oh, have a good career and have your own, you know, be self-sufficient, and then you can start a job and like stay there till you pension, till you know,
Yeah.
till you reach the pension age. Well,
Right.
that's been extended and is going to extend anyway, but I'm like, pension, no way, you know. I'm almost scared, because what am I going to do if you're always up and running, and then to sit still? Well, it's already shown by a lot of people that as soon as you sit still behind the curtains and the flowers and in the window, well, your life's practically over, because we need a connection. We need to connect with people. We need to be active to have like everything like flexible.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not sure you mean like this area.
Well, yeah, just as a whole, because I just feel like in a lot of spaces, people are just saying, oh, you know, to be successful, you have to, you know, wake up really early, start planning your day early. The more you can do in the early hours, you can maximize your time for later on. So I just wanted to know, just from like
Yeah.
your experience and what you've seen, like, does that have a lot of merit, or can you, I mean, I know it's possible that, you know, you can still wake up at like 12 noon and still be an amazing, successful person, you know, depending on your work ethic and what your ultimate vision is. But just, you know, just for those that are like, oh, you know, you want to follow all the gurus and do all the right things. So it's like, I'm going to start getting up at 5 a.m. just to get ahead and, you know, be a success.
Yeah, I catch the point. Well, first of all, one thing I learned is everybody is different. We are not a one size fits all, you know, so it works different for everyone. Secondly, it depends on your career. So if you work mostly at nighttime because your coaching clients, for example, are in a different time zone, then of course it's like natural. So to wake up a little bit later. So I'm an early bird, so I tend to be sharp and productive in the morning. Yes.
Yeah.
But doesn't have to be and doesn't have to work for everyone. And nowadays, I feel there's a little bit of overload from gurus and things that you have to do. So I feel that's part of our stress also. You know, there are so many people telling you what to do. And we have the option to understand this information, because let's face it, 20, 30 years ago, life was pretty simple, in a sense that nobody had a laptop and nobody had a phone. So now we are so connected, let's say, that as soon as you open and scroll Instagram or Facebook, you have this overload of gurus telling you to do it even better. But you're good enough, you know, it's all okay. It's already okay. Just relax and surrender to the fact that you are okay. When you were born, you were perfect already. If you want to make it a little bit more better, if you want to challenge yourself a bit, if you maybe want to change something, then it's time to look at it. But we tend to like run this by the next course and not even start or finish the first one, then go to the next one. And then there's another way, and then there's another way. And we like we make ourselves crazy also, right? Frankly speaking.
Yeah, no, I love that.
Just feel and what's good for you. And that's the thing that you also learn here, to identify, like, there's nothing wrong with me. I just need my checkup and my maintenance thing. And how great is that to do that in a nice vibe and in a nice space, right? So yeah, that's the thing basically.
Yeah, no, that you're the second person to tell me that. There's like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with you. Sometimes you just have to do things just to survive whatever that situation is. It doesn't, it doesn't determine who you are 5 years down the road. So I really do love that aspect. And then I don't know how much of a presence it is in Thailand, but I know like in the US right now, there's a big conversation happening about, women kind of walking around with masculine energy. And more, I guess now it's being asked more of women to show up with a feminine energy. Do you have any thoughts on that and how we can change that masculine energy kind of energy showing up in women, or a way to like ease that a bit?
Yeah, well, if I speak for myself, I really wanted to transform myself. So around the time that I turned 50, I was like, okay, I've seen this, I've done that. And now I want to see what's next. So become the new version of me, or my 2.0, right? Evolve in a way. Right. Because life is a party, right? So if you have the opportunity to like wake up and think like, wow, maybe I should try another way, why don't you just do it, right? So that's why the tagline of Nike is so brilliant.
Just do it.
Yeah, just do it, because there's nothing wrong. You can always change back, I feel. And I was starting my career, let's say, and school and this kind of thing from the 80s, 90s. And then it was really like a male vibe. And now you see that everyone's talking about energy and being awakened and lift up the spirit, lift up the energy globally, let's say. Right. So that automatically means that people are more going into like trying to figure out or listen more, not figure out because it's there anyway, but more listen to your feminine, your female intuition, let's say. But in general, the whole society is more changing into like women are more men and men are more women, so that's why you get all this funny things happening. And I don't judge. I mean, as long as you do what you love to do, I don't give a shit.
Amen. I'll take that.
Right? So, I mean, like I say, life should be a party. We are here also for fun. So I was always one taking things very seriously. So when I'm doing a job or a task, I take it seriously. But we should not forget to also be like playful and to also really like enjoy. When is it the last time you really had a good laugh till you peed your pants? Or when was it the last time, that you were really, really dancing and flipping out of your mind without using any drugs? So that's things we are looking for, something every time outside ourselves. But if you just awaken your inner child, wow, there's so much fun and so much exploration. And whether that is male or female energy, who cares?
Yeah, that's true. I just feel like there's all these conversations and I'm just like how much is that really affecting you? Like, is the person happy? Like, are they living, to their fullest? And it's just, I was just curious as to what your thoughts were, because I'm like, or maybe is it just like something that's happening or a conversation that's happening in the US? Or is that just like kind of?
Oh, I think it's a global thing. But sometimes I think we overthink and we want to always find reasons for things, right?
Yeah.
So, and because it's also like a distraction, or let's say an easy way out to find excuses. Like, I mean, if you talk about menopause all day, or you talk about your period all day, you're not getting less cramps, you're getting more cramps, right? Yeah. So it's not that you don't have to speak about it, but it's just okay, it's there. I feel upset or I feel this and this, and just let it be. And otherwise, when you feel like pain, you take something for it. There are many natural things for ailments. So, and then, yeah, don't let everything, all the small details affect you. Like all these discussions, why would it distract you? What does it make you a better person to think about it or to talk about it all day, you know?
That is true. I can appreciate that sentiment. So what are some of the things that you do to relax in all of this and just make sure you're feeling your best?
Well, I'm not different from anyone else, right? So even in this tropical, nice island, I also really have to take care of myself. So I'm, of course, very grateful and lucky to live next door to a place as my own place.
Right.
So, for example, I checked in myself in a retreat last week. So I scratched 4 half days out of my schedule and did the course, let's say. So I just pay and I just go with the participants. That was hosted by third party. So there I take my advantage when I feel I really need it. Sometimes I just tell my husband, okay, this weekend I'm off, I'm taking the car and I'm off to a friend to get like some fresh air on another tropical island. Of course, I love massages. Of course, I like to exercise, but not hardcore exercise. So I exercise like 4 or 5 times a week just to offload. Yeah. And so, yeah, because in the times that I was like living in Shanghai and Hong Kong, the only thing practically you would do on a weekend, for example, was to go out and shopping, right? Spend money and go out for dinner and all these fancy places. But that's not really here. And like going to festivals or concerts is also like less. But just hang out, be a bit mellow and hang out on the couch and enjoy my dogs. And and have this me time with them along the beach, read a book or listen to a podcast, for example, the Just People, Just Be You. That all helps to take like small me time hours, let's say, which you can just schedule. So if you talk about high achievers who plan their schedule full, I'm one like that, but I also plan my me time and my personal hours. And actually you should start with that, because who is more important than you? Always invest in yourself. You can invest in so many trainings, but if you invest in yourself, it will always come back to you. So that's my belief.
Well, that's beautiful. Well, where can everyone connect with you to possibly, go see you at a retreat or just, for some conversations of their own?
Well, I'm all about what you see is what you get. So my name is Lisa Van Roode. There are not that many women with the same name. So no matter you go to Facebook or you go to Instagram or you go to my website, just send a short message to hello@lisavanrode.com and you find me on the spot. DMs, I'm all about it. I'm practically reachable 24/7, 365 days a year. And my retreat resort is called Lan Sabai. Lan Sabai stands for comforting courtyards. So we are surrounded by 3 meters high wall to really feel secluded, private. So also VIPs and public figures can just be themselves here. So we have a gated place with only 8 rooms. So it's really boutique style, high end and personal approach. That's really what I'm all about, because I was a spoiled business traveler myself. So when I built this place from scratch, I was like, you need a good bed and you need a good bathroom, because we ladies need a whole toolkit. And you don't want to stop that on the floor and things getting wet and like, oh, I don't want to go there. So, and the importance of sleep is highly underestimated. So we are busy all the time. And I feel that sleep is very important. And in general, people sleep way better here than at home, because nobody's disturbing them. Nobody's snoring next to them. The kids do not run into the bedroom. They have their own big bed. We teach them how to relax, how to get to sleep. We might have a small like gift for them to help them even better in the goodie bag. So yeah.
Well,
there's where you can find me. Yeah, pretty much anywhere, or Google.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for joining me today on this episode of Just Be You. I had a great time, chatting with you, learning from you. And I know our paths will cross again. And one day you will see me at your retreat, because that just sounds lovely. And that sounds like what I need to have in my life.
Welcome. I really appreciate it. I love it. And now my dog is really like, Mommy, are you going for a walk with me? She also needs some me time, and she knows how to do it. So that's why we have a dog here, an old lady. She teaches us sometimes how to get what you want. So
yes, I love it. And what kind of dog do you have? I'm a dog lover.
It's just a ex-street dog.
Okay, we take those too. Oh, hi. So cute. Well, thank you again for joining me. I look forward to talking to you soon, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Sure. Thank you so much, Delia.
You're welcome. Have a good one. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye. Stop.